Mr. Speaker, H.R. 933 accomplishes several key objectives. First, it preserves military readiness and national security capability while maintaining core commitments to our troops and our veterans. Second, it ends the current uncertainty of the fiscal year 13 budget. It seems that over the past year, we've moved from fiscal crisis to fiscal crisis. Thanks to the leadership of Chairman Rogers and Chairman Sessions, we're able to consider funding the federal government through the end of the fiscal year at this point, avoiding the threat of a government shutdown. Additionally, by considering a full-year DOD and MILCON VA bills, we're able to establish a stable baseline for the Department to act upon, as opposed to having them rely on fiscal year 2012 priorities. This bill aligns the appropriations accounts for the Department of Defense and the MILCON and VA to better reflect the fiscal year 2013 execution rather than the fiscal year 2012 levels carried forward in the CR. Mr. Speaker, this legislation operates under the caps of the Budget Control Act of 2011 as modified by the American Taxpayer Relief Act of 2012. There are across-the-board reductions in security and non-security spending, spending to reach the caps of $1.043 trillion. Additionally, there's a provision which ensures that the funding will be reduced to the post-sequester level of $982 billion in total spending, a reduction of $85 billion in overall federal spending for fiscal year 2013. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to spend a moment discussing the anomalies in the bill. Let me assure my colleagues on both sides of the aisle that none of the anomalies in this legislation on net do anything that raise the cost of the bill above the statutory Budget Control Act caps. Some of the anomalies in the bill are things like turning off the $100 million in convention funding for Charlotte and Tampa, and turning off $31 million in funding for the Eisenhower Commission, where funding has been delayed indefinitely and no funds have yet been expended. These anomalies are limited. There are only approximately 80 in the entire bill. For reference, in the last full year continuing resolution, there were over 600 anomalies. The Appropriations Committee has been judicious in its use of anomalies, only providing them in cases where the mission-critical operations might be impacted. Mr. Speaker, this is a good bill. I urge support for the rule and the underlying bill, and I reserve